Wrestling in of itself is an art form. And during the year of 2020, we saw many versions of this art come out. 2020 was a difficult year for everybody. And it really stuck to us how wrestling in of itself brought us together. We had the Empty Arena shows over here in America from places like WWE and AEW, sometimes I believe from places like GCW as well. So we could get that fix of indie wrestling in us. Or in Japan, we had somewhat of a crowd after a while, but in the form of clap crowd era, which is coming to an end. And throughout that entire year, we saw many gems. However, what I believe is the best gem that entire year happened just as the world was shutting down. The best gem that entire year happened at a time and no one expected that type of match to happen. Best gem all 2020 came when we least expected it, honestly. It came from a company we hadn't heard in the mainstream in a long while. And of course, what I'm talking about is Go Shiozaki versus Kazuyuki Fujita, March 29th, 2020, for the GHC Heavyweight Championship in front of a sold out, not packed Korakuen Hall crowd. 0 fans in attendance, held by Pro Wrestling Noah. And I'm here to at least give my reasons why I believe this match is the best match of 2020. Now, when this match was booked, the world had began to shut down. COVID was becoming a big worldwide thing. And the world was seeing that we hadn't really seen anything as dangerous as COVID in our own eyes before. And wrestling companies were also taking notice. WWE and AEW were quick to hold no crowd shows, refunding fans for everything they spent on those shows, and gave us the best entertainment they can and they could during that COVID era. Over in places like the UK, some companies were also holding no crowd shows, while some other companies were fully shutting down, waiting COVID to get better. Over in Japan, as we all know, New Japan Pro Wrestling, when COVID really first took off, they were supposed to hold a big 48th anniversary show. And instead, they canceled that show and all shows up until that year's Wrestling Dontaku, and they just canceled everything up until then. And they pretty much shut down for about 3 months as COVID took hold. However, Pro Wrestling Noah, to go on at their March 29th Korakuen Hall show in front of 0 fans. And the main event of that show was Go Shiozaki versus Kazuyuki Fujita for the GHC Heavyweight Championship. And this match had been building for a while. Go Shiozaki versus Kazuyuki Fujita had been building up even before COVID had took effect. Go Shiozaki winning GHC Heavyweight Championship on January 4th from Kaito Kiyomiya. Kazuyuki Fujita being a member of Sugiura-gun, which came from the very basis of the Suzuki-gun invasion in New Japan. From New Japan to Pro Wrestling Noah. And Go Shiozaki in that video package ends off with a declaration of I am Noah, declaring that he is what professional wrestling in Noah will be, that he will protect the company. Now, in the beginning, before the match begins, it's your run-of-the-mill entrances. Kazuyuki Fujita enters out. However, he's flanked by the entirety of Sugiura-gun, minus some key members who could not enter Japan at the time. Go Shiozaki, the only person in his corner is then Axe's partner, Katsuhiko Nakajima. And they really just do the standard that they usually do for GHC heavyweight title matches. Referee will hold up the belt, show it off to both competitors, and they'll do a in-ring introduction as the wrestlers taunt. However, that isn't where the madness begins. It all begins when the bell really rings. Now, when the bell rings, both men are just staring at each other. And you can see Go Shiozaki step forward a bit and give 2 firm placements right on top of the Pro Wrestling Noah logo. And from there, staring just begins. And this staring is a main focus of this masterpiece of a match. Now, many people will look at this and say, oh, this staring is boring. We want to get into the action quickly. However, this match, it's working out as art. Art imitating life. Usually whenever you see a fight about to go on, there will be a bunch of staring, and usually it'll be a bunch of staring, and then one person or both parties will back down, or the fight will immediately kick off. And usually in this staring, it's a psychological battle, daring the other man to make the first move. That's what's usually in this staring, and that's what's seen here. Kazuyuki Fujita is staring. It's like he's staring right down into you, trying to some way, shape, or form get you to succeed to him. However, Go Shiozaki, being as cool, calm, and collected as he is, he can take the staring back and he can give it just as well, because he doesn't let up at all. And this feels exactly like this is the first battle of the match. Battle of staring, a battle of minds. 2 brilliant minds meeting in a match. And there's no movement, no wrestling, no anything. Just two men staring at each other in a mind control battle. Fujita wants mind control over Shiozaki. He wants to intimidate Shiozaki. However, Go Shiozaki's not having it at all. And the ring placement stands out so much as well. Kazuyuki Fujita, flanked by the Sugiura-gun members, who nearly killed Pro Wrestling Noah pretty much, with the help of Suzuki-gun as well in 2015, 2016. How Suzuki-gun and Takashi Sugiura himself nearly killed Noah with that entire Suzuki-gun invasion. Kazuyuki Fujita being flanked by them, whilst Go Shiozaki stands right above the Pro Wrestling Noah logo, protecting it and telling the world what he is, that he is Noah. And his staring, his first section of staring goes on for about 15 minutes, 15 to 16 minutes, until Kazuyuki Fujita takes a slow and light stroll around the ring. 90 degrees away from his original corner. And he just swapped corners. It feels like Fujita here is trying to bait Shiozaki in to making that first move. He's baiting him in to try and hit him, try and even grab him. That's what it feels like. However, Shiozaki isn't having it at all. About 10 minutes after that, you see Fujita walk to Shiozaki's original corner, 180 degrees across from the ring, from his original corner. And this, in a way, it feels like it's cutting Shiozaki off from his Axis partner at the time, Katsuhiko Nakajima. And it also calls a lot how 5 months later, when Nakajima would turn on Shiozaki, that they lost that match to Sugiura-gun. After a while, you can just tell Fujita's somewhat getting agitated, and he springs right into Shiozaki, and that starts the actual competitiveness of the match. 31 minutes into it, with a 60-minute time limit. And for the next 10 minutes, what you will be seeing is a ground control segment where Fujita, he is having his way on the mat with Shiozaki, especially with the fact Kazuyuki Fujita is a legitimately skilled amateur wrestler. He is skilled in this art. What really can Shiozaki do? However, it tells everything in the world that even when they are by the ropes, Shiozaki's the one to move away. Kazuyuki Fujita's not pulling him away as Go Shiozaki's fingertips away from the ropes. No, Go Shiozaki's moving himself and Fujita away from the ropes towards the middle of the ring as this ground control segment goes on. And that's what speaks minds about this match. And whilst the ground control segment might feel a bit long to some people, for those people who sat through the entire 31 minutes of them staring, it feels rewarding, because everything that comes after those 30 minutes of staring, it will be rewarding. That's your reward for getting through the 30 minutes of staring. After the first 40 minutes of this match, we really get into the chaoticness of this match. And that is what I would like to call Korakuen Hall tour whilst we're in COVID. Men are outside of the ring in the barricaded area of sorts, and they're doing the usual brawling you would see in that barricaded part. However, it really takes a turn, and I don't mean to say this in a good or a bad way. I mean to say this in a what is going on way. Kazuyuki Fujita rolls Go Shiozaki into a bunch of the crowd barricades. And whilst they're brawling on the outside, Fujita's getting the upper hand on Shiozaki. Then Fujita notices a bottle. And in the build up to the match, Kazuyuki Fujita, after a match where he beat Go Shiozaki, he drank some water and spit it on Shiozaki, as well as pouring a bottle of water on him. And that's what it seems like Fujita's about to do. He's just gonna pour some water on him and drink some water and spit it on him. Yeah, well, not exactly. Because the bottle Kazuyuki Fujita picks up is in reality a bottle of hand sanitizer. And when it's realized, it's just what is going on now. Because this match has went a masterful storytelling piece to an experimental art form. Because Kazuyuki Fujita picks up hand sanitizer, twists off the cap, and the first swig he takes, he has to spit out because he doesn't realize it's hand sanitizer until he puts it in his mouth. So he pours a bunch back in and he spits it in Shiozaki's face. And after this, we go into Korakuen Hall virtual tour whilst we are in the era of COVID, where we're walking around and they're fighting a bit. Well, fighting is used very loosely here, as Fujita's mainly got a hand of Go Shiozaki's hair, dragging him around as he's beating him down. And they walk into the stands. They walk into the stands at Korakuen Hall, usually the hard cam for New Japan shows, or the hard cam will be. And Shiozaki's head is bounced off the exit way by Fujita as they go down into the crowd area where they buy drinks and stuff. And Fujita, he's taking no remorse. He's bashing Shiozaki's head off of whatever he can, out of whatever he can, and then they go over to the elevator area. And Fujita, he pushes the elevator button after throwing Shiozaki into the wall. And the elevator doesn't work. So Fujita kicks the elevator and they go back up into the Korakuen Hall hard cam area where the seating is. And they go through a door which leads to the Korakuen Hall upper balcony area, where Kazuyuki Fujita then proceeds to try and throw Go Shiozaki off of the upper balcony area. all the way down into the bleachers that are below it. And he realizes this doesn't work, so he just leaves. He goes straight back to the ring. And that leaves Go Shiozaki. Whilst he's leaving, whilst Kazuyuki Fujita's leaving, that leaves Go Shiozaki to have to sort of chase after. However, first he has to at least make it seem like everything hurt. So this is taking away about 5 minutes from this match. And the entire Korakuen Hall virtual tour, while we're in a COVID shutdown, this has taken about 47 minutes. Meaning in reality, we are about 49 minutes into this match. And finally, when they get back into the ring, we actually get to see true semblance of these two wrestlers. When they finally get back into the ring, we finally see traces of wrestling. And Kazuyuki Fujita puts in an awesome crab before transitioning into a single leg crab. And as Go Shiozaki's trying to get to the ropes, you can see Katsuhiko Nakajima willing on his tag partner to get there. It's a long stretch, but then Go Shiozaki finally gets there. And after that, Fujita just grabs up Go Shiozaki and begins backward to the punishment. They tease a suplex. However, Go Shiozaki, he hits the suplex instead on Fujita. The two are going at it, and Go has a little comeback moment. And they go into the corner and they do Go Shiozaki's standard chop spot. However, Kazuyuki Fujita, he powers out of that chop spot and begins to slap everything out of Go Shiozaki. However, Shiozaki's still fighting on. He has yet to quit at all. And he goes to chopping yet again and hits multiple and hits one huge Kesagiri chop right to the neck of Fujita, shades of his mentor Kobashi, and then hits a huge fisherman buster before ripping off the elbow pad. And you think he's gonna hit the lariat, but he eats a huge knee right to his gut. Fujita then locks in a sleeper hold, and he carries Shiozaki over the rope. Because Shiozaki rolled onto the apron, Fujita, he carries Shiozaki over the top rope to lock in the sleeper hold. And he doesn't let him pass out, no. He instead runs in with a huge knee lift, trying to knock Shiozaki out. And he's looking for a beast bomb. However, Shiozaki powers out of it. And then we see the Kesagiri chops versus the slapping. And Fujita just slaps him once, then hits the beast bomb, and transitions into the sickest soccer kicks I've ever heard. And I'm just going to let you hear them for yourself. The absolute sickest soccer kicks I've ever heard to a man's head. And Shiozaki just kicks out at a 2 count. Fujita goes back into the sleeper, however, Shiozaki powers him back into a corner. And you can see fatigue starting to wear in. You have a elbow and chop exchange that's usually normal in these matches. However, it's not normal around like the 55-minute mark of this match. And then you finally go into the ending part where Fujita hits a huge German on Shiozaki. However, Shiozaki's up to his feet before Fujita can even get up. And Shiozaki hits a huge lariat. And we're going into the ending sequence here, where multiple lariats are hit. However, one of the lariats, Fujita counters into a Hurricane Rana, only for a 2 count. However, Shiozaki gets up before Fujita yet again, and hits another lariat, and then picks Fujita back up one last time, and this time he hits a huge backdrop, but that doesn't even get him the full 3 count. And then after that, he hits yet another lariat, yet Fujita is still up. And another lariat off the ropes. Fujita's still up, and he goes for the third. However, Fujita, being a beast he is, hits his own. However, Shiozaki's back up, and this time, no Kazuyuki Fujita slap or any elbow is doing anything to him. The chops make Fujita have to cover up, and Shiozaki sees the opening, hits another lariat, and finally gets a pinfall, but only gets a 2 count from it. He only gets a 2. And it takes multiple lariats just to even get a 2 count. Then after this, Shiozaki hits multiple lariats yet again, leading to one last one to finally get the 3 count and retain the GHC Heavyweight Championship. All lasted for about 57 minutes. 3 minutes short of the 60-minute window. And it took that much for Shiozaki to beat Fujita. Took that much. Shiozaki. Now the aftermath wasn't really anything as big as you would expect. Shiozaki did his standard thing in defending and consistently retaining the GHC Heavyweight Championship. Kazuyuki Fujita would go on and do other things, usually in lower card tag bouts as a name attraction. 2021 he won GHC national title, however quickly lost that to Takashi Sugiura. Shiozaki lost his GHC Heavyweight Championship February 12th to Keiji Muto in the Nippon Budokan. In this match, everyone looks back on it as a true test. As a wrestling fan, you either like the match or you hate the match. There's no in the middle. And this video, if anything, tells you I'm a firm fan of this match. And this match, if anything, if it tells you only one thing, this match needs to tell you that wrestling is an art form. Those different arts can be applied to that wrestling, especially from something like this match, from 2020's Match of the Year. Wrestling is an art form that we all enjoy. While multiple people have been very outspoken about how much they don't like this match and how much 30 minutes stare down annoys them. What really is outspoken is about the fact that even during a time like when the world was just beginning to shut down with COVID, how wrestling could still string together an art piece as great as this. How wrestling, even when the world was going to absolute utter chaos and rubble, wrestling could still make this and showcase something as special as the